Who's the essential ad in fantasy baseball, and who is it time to cut bait on? I'll go through all of that in this week's Rotoworld Fantasy Baseball Ad Drop Hold. The player I want you to add is Washington Nationals starting pitcher DJ Herz, who's rostered in just 9% of Yahoo leagues. Now, Herz comes with some risk, but there is a lot of upside in this play right here. Herz was the Nationals' 12th ranked prospect coming into this year and was the Chicago Cubs minor league pitcher of the year in 2021 before coming over to the Nationals last year in a trade for Heimer Candelario. In his first 2 MLB starts this year, there was a little bit of a mixed bag. He allowed 6 runs on 11 hits in 8 2/3 innings, while striking out 8 and walking 5. But he emerged onto fantasy radars last week with a 13 strikeout performance against the Marlins, allowing just 1 hit in 6 scoreless innings. Now, it was the Marlins, which is something we need to keep in mind, but Herz did look good, primarily because he was able to command his fastball really well, and he kept it up in the zone, which helped him with 13 whiffs on the fastball and a 39% CSW. Yet in his first 2 starts, that fastball command was not as precise, and that's been the biggest concern for Herz as a prospect, and why some scouts believe he profiled as more of a reliever. Herz does have a good changeup, which you can use to right-handed hitters, and a slider that misses bats against lefties. So if that fastball command does carry over, he does have a lot of upside as a strikeout pitcher. However, he posted just an 8.4% strikeout minus walk rate at AAA because he had a 19% walk rate. That's not something we really want to see. However, you're adding Herz here because we always want to take a swing on upside and hope that it clicks. You should be aware that there's a very low floor here, but it's hard to find starting pitchers on the waiver wire with this kind of upside. So I think Herz is worth a gamble in pretty much all league types right now. The player I want you to hold this week is Arizona Diamondbacks third baseman Eugenio Suarez, who's rostered in 25% of Yahoo leagues. Now, I know Suarez has not been great for the Diamondbacks this year, hitting .202 with 6 home runs and 31 RBIs in 69 games. But here's why I'm saying you should hold Suarez. He has done this many times, so many times. There are a few players in baseball who have more pronounced first half, second half splits than Eugenio Suarez. For his career, Suarez hits .237 in the first half of the season and .256 in the second half of the season. For his career, he slugs .426 with a .749 OPS in the first half of the season, and he slugs .478 with an .816 OPS in the second half of the season. The power is pronouncedly different as well. His career first half has a .189 ISO and a .222 ISO in the second half. The Diamondbacks have said they're not planning to move on from Suarez, and his quality of contact has actually gotten better over the last few weeks, even though the surface level stats haven't ticked up. I don't believe Suarez is going to turn into a second half stud, but I do believe that you could get a hitter with a .240 batting average that will push 15 homers in the second half of the season. He's done that in basically each of the last 7 years. I think as the weather warms up in Arizona, the power numbers are going to go up. And so in deeper formats where I need power, I think I can hold on to Suarez as a corner infield player. Again, if I'm in shallower formats or if my power is really good, I understand cutting bait, but I do think we're going to see a better second half from Suarez than we saw in the first half. It's just kind of who he is as a player. Now, before we move on to the player I think you should drop in fantasy baseball leagues, I want you to pause this video, comment below, let me know any of your fantasy baseball questions for the week, who you should add, who you should drop, who you can stash. I'll answer all those questions as the week goes on. Now, the player I think you should drop is Toronto Blue Jays outfielder George Springer, who's still rostered in 71% of Yahoo leagues. Now, I'm not putting Springer here because I'm saying you have to drop him, but I'm putting him here to give you permission that you can drop him if you feel like he's not contributing to your team and you see a hitter on your waiver wire that you're really excited about. When Springer came into the year, we thought that he'd be a 20 homer, 20 stolen base hitter who'd hit about .260 to .270 while leading off in a really strong lineup. None of that has come to fruition. I don't believe that Springer is washed, but I think we need to change our expectations of what we're getting from the veteran. Over the last month, he's hitting .195 with 2 home runs and 1 steal, so things aren't really getting better. According to Pitcher List's rolling graphs, he's making good swing decisions and getting good pitches to hit, but still not delivering. And part of that is that pitchers are changing the way they're pitching to Springer. They're keeping the ball low in the zone, attacking him in the lower third 5% more than they did last year, That's led to a career high ground ball rate for Springer and a career low ideal contact rate. That new approach from pitchers could sap whatever power Springer has. And while the speed is still fine, Springer could be more of a 15-15 guy over the course of a full season. And now he's hitting sixth or lower in an offense that's looking far more average than many of us expected. So even if he hits 260 from here on out, which is a stretch based on his overall quality of contact, I'm not really sure the overall production he's giving you without the run totals and without the 20 homer power is really worth holding on to in 12-team leagues. In deeper leagues, because he's playing every day, if you want to keep running him out there, I understand that. But if there's a really attractive bat on your waiver wire, I think it's time to make the move. The player I want you to stash is Baltimore Orioles starting pitcher Chase McDermott, who's rostered in just 1% of Yahoo leagues. Now, you don't need to be adding him right now, but you can add him to your watch list or put him on your radar because I do think he's an intriguing starting pitching prospect for the summer. There were many people who believe that he's a better starting pitching prospect than Cade Povich, who got the first call for the Orioles. And while McDermott did have some reliever risk as a prospect, he answered some of those questions last year and had a really good season with a 3.10 ERA and 152 strikeouts in 119 innings, while holding hitters to 167 batting average against, which was best in the minor leagues. In many ways, he picked up where he left off this year in AAA with a 3.62 ERA and 93 strikeouts in 64 2/3 innings. He has a 32.4% strikeout rate, and those 93 strikeouts rank second in the minor leagues and first in AAA. Now, he does have a 14.3% walk rate, so those command concerns haven't fully been alleviated. But the right-hander has a really good fastball that he throws from a low release point, which allows it to get a really good height-adjusted vertical approach angle and miss a lot of bats up in the zone. He pairs that with 3 different breaking balls that he mixes and matches based on what command he feels he has the best of during the day. But again, if the command leaves him on multiple pitches, then that is kind of something that he doesn't have a really consistent second breaking ball to go to. The curve and the splitter do flash plus, but again, there's inconsistent command. He gets a lot of whiffs with them, but if hitters are laying off, it does lead to some poor starts. But you're keeping McDermott on your radar in deeper leagues because his upside is high, much higher than Cole Irvin, Albert Suarez, or even Cade Povich. Given the team context, if the Orioles give him a chance with McDermott's strikeout upside, he could have a really solid summer in fantasy leagues. So he's somebody I definitely want to watch as the year goes on. As a recap, my ad for this week was Washington Nationals starting pitcher DJ Herz. My hold was Arizona Diamondbacks third baseman Eugenio Suarez. My drop was Toronto Blue Jays outfielder George Springer. And my stash or watch list player was Orioles starting pitcher Chase McDermott. I'll check you back next week for more fantasy baseball ad drops.